Hi, I'm AJ Jacobs, author of The Know-It-All and The Year of Living Biblically. I was a journalist. I worked at a newspaper in Northern California that had a circulation of about 14 people, writing about PTA meetings and sewage taxes. I wrote a lot about sewage for some reason. And then I worked at Entertainment Weekly magazine, covering B and C list TV stars. That seemed to be my niche. And then I got a job at Esquire and edited I edited the front section of Esquire magazine, which they talked about wine and cars, both of which I knew nothing about. But it also gave me an opportunity to do some things I was passionate about. When I started to do these life experiments for magazines and realized what a great way it is into a topic. So, for instance, a few years ago, I did an article called My Outsourced Life, where I hired a team of people in Bangalore, India, to live my life for me. So they answered my phone and answered my email, and they argued with my wife for me, and they read bedtime stories to my son. So that was one of the best months of my life. And I was like, hey, if I could do this for a living. It was interesting when I wrote The Year of Living Biblically, I wasn't quite sure how it would be received. But I have to say, I've been very blessed, to use a biblical word, because I got a pretty warm reception from both the secular community and the religious community. The secular community embraced it, I think, because they got to learn about religion. And the religious community, I went in there not to mock religion, but to try to understand it as someone who had had no religion in my life whatsoever. So I think they were excited to see someone who was really trying. And this is probably boasting, which is not biblical, so you'll have to forgive me for this. But when the book came out, I was on the cover of an evangelical Christian magazine and also featured in many Jewish magazines. But also, same month, I was featured in Playboy and Penthouse. So I was very excited to bridge that gap, sort of be a uniter, not a divider. This year changed me more profoundly than I ever anticipated. I knew it would be interesting, but I didn't know it would be really quite that life-changing. It changed me in dozens of ways that still resonate with me. And they're little things and they're big things. One is gratitude. I learned the importance of being thankful for the 100 little things that go right every day, as opposed to focusing on the 3 or 4 that go wrong. Just the fact that you press the elevator button, the elevator comes, and you get in, and it doesn't plummet to the basement. That is, we should be thankful for that. I still observe the Sabbath, which I think is a beautiful tradition, whether you're an atheist or a religious person. In these days when we're all workaholics and working 24/7 right through the weekend, to have this one day off to reflect and to marvel at what we have, I think is a wonderful thing. I grew my beard out for the entire year, and by the end, it was quite enormous. I spent a lot of time at airport security, so that's the kind of beard we're talking. And when I shaved it, it was a little bittersweet. Even though it was wildly uncomfortable, I felt like I was sort of losing a member of the family. So I did save it. I put it in a plastic bag, and I actually suggested to Simon & Schuster, I was like, hey, we could do a marketing thing where we give away a little bit of the beard with every first 100 books sold. And they told me that was a repulsive idea and that they had wanted no part of that. So I still have the entirety of the beard. My next project, I actually signed up for 2 books with Simon & Schuster that I'm very excited about. The first one will be a collection of experiments that I do on myself. For instance, I tried something called radical honesty. It's a movement where they believe you should never ever lie. But more than that, whatever's on your brain should come out of your mouth. There should be no filter. So I tried this for a month, and this was one of the worst months of my life because, you don't want to be doing this. The name of the essay is I Think You're Fat. So that gives you an idea of what the ordeal was like. So it'll be a collection of those essays. And then the second book after that will be my quest to be the healthiest person in the world. The know-it-all was about trying to improve my mind, radically make over my mind. And the Year of Living Biblically was about trying to radically make over my spirit. This will be about my body. I would have to say that being fruitful and multiplying was my greatest achievement. That was, the Bible says to be fruitful and multiply, and I took my project very seriously, and we had twin boys. My wife and I had twin boys during my year, so perhaps that's my greatest achievement.